It's the story that everyone is talking about, and it has nothing to do with upcoming preseason games, the induction of a good friend of mine, Tony Gonzalez, in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, the baseball trade deadline, injuries in the NFL, A.J. Green, holdouts in the NFL, Zeke Elliott, Michael Thomas. No. It's not even talking about Team USA, which is, Team USA is going to have a lot of no names in comparison to what they usually have as they get ready for the World Cup in basketball. No, what we're talking about isn't even practice. We're talking about an AAU game. LeBron James's oldest son is Bronny, LeBron James Jr., known as Bronny. And he's become a really good player. And in playing for an AAU championship over the weekend, LeBron James was not even in the stands. He was on the bench. And a couple of times during some big plays, they brought him to a level of excitement. His son dunking, he's screaming. A crazy alley-oop, through your legs alley-oop, brought him onto the court during a timeout, chest bumping dudes. And then there's the dunking in warm-ups. So what I want to do is explain something, okay? Sports television, I'm told, is about villainy, right? You got to be willing to push. It's really mirrored political TV, all the way to the left, all the way to the right. And so either in this case, you're Skip Bayless or Jason Whitlock, and you're LeBron James is a look-at-me guy. LeBron James should sit his ass down. Or you're Nick Wright, which goes to the nth degree to protect and defend LeBron James. Okay. What we do is we move the line back and forth, or we change the discussion to about parenting. And, hey, he's a good dad, so this somehow is acceptable. And it, of course, brings to mind Chris Rock, who had an incredible rant a couple of stand-ups ago where he said, it's like guys saying, hey, I take care of my kids. You're supposed to do, right? Like, dads are supposed to be there for their sons. And yes, it is a problem in America. It's a problem in the African-American community. Dads not either parenting their sons or simply not being there for their family. This is, in fact, an issue. By the way, I'm going to sound like the oldest human being or maybe the whitest human being on earth. I don't know. I watched a fascinating Civil War documentary this weekend, and I didn't know this, and it was about, the impetus of, it was about the entire Civil War. It's on Netflix, and it was talking about during, back in the time of the Confederacy, that because a slave would be sold at least once, if not multiple times during their lives, that when they were married, which marriage was illegal, but of course people still got married, that the person who married them would say, until death do you part, or until, circumstances otherwise. Like if you get sold to another owner in a different state, you're not married anymore. Right? So there's actually a real discussion on some level, and probably a different show to be had, about how that affected an entire race of people, right? That I didn't even know about. But before we reward LeBron James for curing all the ills of black parenting, before we congratulate him on being there for his son, and he has, I'll say this one thing. It speaks volumes for Bronny, because by all accounts, LeBron James Jr. continues to play better and better and better and better. And his dad is doing the look at me things, which does bring a ton of attention to every game, to every possession, to every showdown that he has. And it's not like LeBron James Jr. can hide. They're coming at him, and he continues to play better. That says a lot about that kid, that human being. And for the record, I'm not going to go villainy and think he's a bad parent and he's completely look at me guy. And he has to sit there and sit in the corner and pull the ball cap down and not talk to anybody. But I'm also not suggesting that what he's doing is the greatest thing ever. And it's so cool. It's not his basketball game. It's not. And he is stealing attention while bringing attention to the game. And I don't think it's bad parenting. I don't think it's diabolical. I don't think there's some planned thing to bring attention to himself. I think it's a loaded deal where he's never really been told no. Ever. Ever. Maybe Miami was the only time when he wanted to fire Eric Spoelstra. And he wanted his guys on the team. But Cleveland never told him no. Lakers haven't told him no. He surely wasn't told no since high school's over. And if everything you do ends up being on some level successful, and you make a ton of money and you invest in Beats, look at that. You invest in Blaze, and look at that. Right? And you're swimming in money, in gold medals and NBA championships, and in prestige, somebody telling you like, hey, you shouldn't hop in layup lines and dunk. I can understand LeBron James looking at us sideways like, no one tells me no. And while we'll never agree on if it's good parenting or bad parenting, if it's diabolical, I think we can all agree it's super weird, right? It's just a weird thing. It's weird. You're like, well, no, don't explain it away. Like, if you said any other human being ever, name another athlete, they have a kid who's 14 years old and they hop into pregame warmups. You'd be like, that's super weird. Super duper weird. I didn't say it's bad, but I didn't say it's good. It's just, really? I mean, I like that he's there. I like that he's involved. I like that he's fired up for his kid. And I think LeBron James, when he plays, is generally about the right things. But it's weird. Like, who does that? Now, I'll defend its weirdness and defend why weirdness is expected in a moment. First, let me play you both sides of the aisle here, right? This is like watching, don't they have presidential debate tonight? Right? This is the post-presidential debate is essentially the analysis is essentially going to be just like this, right? Where you're going to have one side, you're like, man, that guy was awesome. The other side, like, that guy was terrible. And the truth is somewhere in the middle. Here's Skip Bayless on Bron.
Your face says it all.
Shannon. This was just pathetic. This was so embarrassing to LeBron James and especially to his son, Bronny. And I have no idea how you're going to defend this, but I'm certainly going to give you the opportunity, counselor. I want you to think about what just happened. LeBron James joined a bunch of 8th and 9th graders in a layup line, and he dunked. He didn't make it, to your point, didn't make it a funny ha-ha thing where he just shot a little right-handed layup off the glass like the kids have to shoot right now. Bronny can get up occasionally and slam it, but mostly they're just laying it up off the glass. No, he took it dead seriously. He leaped with all of his might, and he thunder dunked it. This was every last ounce LeBron has at age 34 in his 17th year.
That was 75% right there.
Oh, was it? It looked like 105% to me. And the upshot was that he upstaged his poor kid. I don't know what he was thinking, but All
right, and here's Nick Wright, the other side of the aisle.
I think we've officially reached peak LeBron James derangement syndrome from some folks. the idea that it would be controversial and vehement, really pointed criticism for LeBron being an exuberant, if not at times over the top, involved, enthusiastic sports parent is just insanity to me. And it is a lot of adults putting what they think they would want in place of what the kids involved have said repeatedly they want and they enjoy. And there is undoubtedly a part of this where LeBron, who had a ton of amazing amateur athletic moments, none of which he got to share with his father, is making the pointed case of, I am going to do for my kids at their games what my dad never did for me. And should he run onto the court? I don't know. But the idea that this is a bad thing, or that he's doing, a guy with 100 million Instagram followers is doing this for attention, is, to me, so missing the mark. It's kind of unbelievable to me.
Well, let me dissect both of those. Okay. First, let me start with the last one, which was Nick saying he did what he wishes his dad would do. Like, no, he didn't. He wishes his dad would be there for him. He wishes his dad would have showed up. But I don't think he wished his dad would have hopped into layup lines or would have hopped onto the court after an alley-oop dunk and screamed and chest bumped dudes. It's just like I think we've gone from, hey, it's better this than being anything's better than being an absentee parent. But we're not arguing whether or not it's an absentee parent. And we're not even talking about what the kids would want. It's who does this? I guess LeBron is the answer. We've seen Dwayne Wade's son play pickup games. We've never seen Dwayne Wade happen. Kobe Bryant actually coaches his daughter's team. They practice 5 days a week. They're one of the best teams, youth teams in the country, not just for their age, for any age. Girls basketball teams, like, he doesn't do it. On the other hand, to Skip, like, I don't necessarily think it's sad. I just think it's weird. And here's the deal. Stars are weird. They just are. It's like my challenge in life. Honestly, I would love to be seen as a star, but not be weird. And if I have to sacrifice being a star to be somebody who's normal, so be it. Like, I love my boy Cowherd. But if you hung out around Cowherd, like, there's just some weird stuff about him. There just is. We are really close friends. But I can't tell you how many times I've been doing a very big show on basketball on major network television where he calls me during the show and I call him back and he's like, what are you doing? He's like, there's a really good game on. I know, Colin, I'm actually doing the game. There's just some things about him, which I could go into other things, but people who know Cowherd are like, yeah, that's Colin's a little weird. But it's not just Colin. Like, if you've ever known a rock star or a musician, like, I know a bunch, but like one is like not weird. Coaches are all super weird. They're all super, they're just different cats, man. They are. Star musicians are weird. Stars in our industry are strange and odd and peculiar. They do things that are different. And stars in sports the exact same way. Quarterbacks generally are like the most normal guys, but the wide receivers are not, the running backs are not, the defensive players are not. They're just wired a little differently. Maybe they're creative types. Maybe that's the deal. When someone does something we've literally never seen before with other people in a similar situation, it's different. It's odd. Is there something diabolical at work? No. Is he trying to gain social media popularity? No. Did we create some of this? Yeah, we did, because we've never told him no or like, hey, dude, like, what are you doing? But if anyone else hopped out in the court, you would say, dude, sit. It's about the kids, not about you. LeBron's no different. Do I think he's the worst human being on earth? Absolutely not. Do I think this is absolutely the way to parent other kids? I do not. Like, look, I hop into 3-on-2, 2-on-1 drills with our basketball teams that I coach, and the kids absolutely love it. They eat it up. but I wouldn't hop into layup lines. Like, just because it's weird. It is peak LeBron, not derangement. It's just peak LeBron weirdness. Hi, I'm Doug Gottlieb from Fox Sports Radio, and you need to subscribe to the Fox Sports Radio YouTube channel where you can hear and see me. Why not? Plus everybody else who's awesome here in Fox Sports Radio.